Good afternoon, everybody. I'm hoping you're having a good day, despite the gloomy weather that we've been having the last few days. For those affected by the bad weather, the tornadoes and storms, I feel for you. I hope recovery, if you're affected, comes soon. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Sleepy-Eyed Joe. I know it's a subject that we hope to put past us, but I think it's something we need to talk about and how it connects with Donald J. right now. Unfortunately, he's been diagnosed with a prostate cancer, and that's bad, pretty bad. Uh, and I did some checking. It's a metastasis cancer. It affects other parts of your body. It spreads throughout your body. It just goes, completely haywire and eats you up every which way. It goes into your bones and your hormone system and everything else, guys. It really messes you up. You don't die from prostate cancer, but you die from the other effects, even from the chemotherapy and radiation therapy. So they're looking into other ways of treating this with immunotherapy. But it has gone into his hormone system. That was announced the first day or the second day of, and so far, you have not heard anything about this as of yet. The reason I want to take this and make this a point about it affecting your hormone system, uh, if you don't know anything, hormones affect almost everything in your body, including your memory and your other cognitive abilities. In other words, able to function day to day, and it can turn you almost into a vegetable. You have no sense. You don't know what you're doing or anything else like that. And people have to direct you, even tell you when to eat and things like that. At bathrooms and things like that, guys, your mental capabilities can fall drastically with hormone imbalance. So since this prostate cancer was going on for a while, and don't let them fool you, it's been there for a while, we can assume that Joe Biden was under the influence of his hormones being out of balance and causing him cognitive disabilities throughout his presidency, or at least the latter part of it. We've got to take that in consideration, considering all the things that he has said and done and acted and everything like that, and realize that this poor man was affected by a prostate cancer or some kind of cancer affecting his hormone balance, as well as the other influences that he had going on. So I guess you're wondering why this is important. Well, we know that at the end of Joe Biden's presidency, he passed numerous laws, or whatever you call it, executive orders and everything, protecting him and his family and other members of his executive staff for prosecution for any and all crimes past and future. So that's kind of a clean slate. They're what the board, if anything he's ever done or anybody associated with him can walk away from any kind of criminal prosecution. That's federal prosecution. So that's a pass right there, guys. That's already done. There's nothing we do about it unless they revoke that. And the only way to revoke that really is to prove that he was not within his cognitive abilities to pass such laws without being misaligned with his thoughts and everything. Being his cognitive impairment would prevent him from passing real laws. So that brings that whole thing into question, whether or not it's a pass now. So they can go ahead and probably push this and get his last few months, especially with the executive orders, kicked out and refocused. And that could open the doors for prosecution of all the members of Joe Biden's staff, as well as his family and other people associated with him, be under federal prosecution. That all sounds well and good on the surface. But to Donald Trump, this is a no-go. And because, as I have stated before, that Donald Trump is wanting to be king of it all. And if this is thrown out, that Joe Biden's cognitive abilities is thrown out, I want you to remember now who's pushing this narrative about how bad Joe Biden is. That's coming from mainstream media and the Democrats themselves. So if they can pull this out, say that Joe Biden was incapable of running the White House and anything he said is null and void, well, then that opens the door for Donald Trump to be prosecuted by the courts for any and all crimes and any and all executive orders to be tossed out and him bring under prosecution for any and all things he does, even while he's in office. And therefore that would stop his steps towards being king of the Americas. Y'all think I'm being silly about this, but I think I'm onto something really, really strong on this. You got to remember that ever since Donald Trump started making moves, heavy moves towards the White House, well, not since, but we've had a number of executive orders coming out of the White House. One of the ones is about being able to fire upon civilians in case of presidential order. That was always a big no-no, and now it's a thing that they can do that. They can arrest, detain, prosecute, and assassinate or kill civilians now, fire upon civilians without due process of the law. We'll also have rules and everything I showed y'all the other day where Trump was militarizing the Law Enforcement Association of Americas, basically turning them into a military force. Wow. So we've got this guy right here that's telling the military you can shoot civilians, and we got them to turn around and giving them police law enforcement militarized capabilities. You can see the steps coming here. Remember, I told you out that Trump is doing the celebration of Apollo, the king of all. There's several things that's going on. Right before the election, they came out with the Vatican came out. In fact, had a statue of Apollo unveiled, Apollo of Belvedere, made out of marble. That stunned the world. Okay, guys, so the Vatican was in on this. So hey, it ain't much to figure out why we got an American Pope all of a sudden. So there's several things going on. The celebration of Thagrian, I can't remember exactly what it is. I got a post up here about it. It starts around May 24th, which is this weekend, through the 26th, through Monday, which, by the way, is a time that we're celebrating Memorial Day here in the United States, which I thought it was always celebrated on May 31st, come hell or high water, even if it was on a Wednesday. Labor Day was celebrated on the 31st. Now it's moved forward to the celebration of Thagrius of Apollo on the 24th through the 26th. You think things are done for a coincidence? How come this was never done before? All of a sudden it's done for Trump. You don't think this wasn't planned out? Think again. The Vatican was in on it. Remember, Trump has a secret weapon. It's the advanced death stance. Hope y'all have a groovy day. Later, taters.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!